You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist.
Low, 6 flow, blue rag lopes, shaved head creased up, sporting flat nose. The OG way, what you knew about that West Coast? The OG way, what you knew about that West Coast? Low, 6 flow, blue rag lopes, shaved head creased up, sporting flat nose. The OG way, what you knew about that West Coast? The OG way, what you knew about that West Coast? Gang capital in Cali, we some animals. No remorse and no mercy, just like cannibals. So play your cards right, and that was picture cantaloupe. And we'll hit you anywhere just like catapults. Es un desmadre, but forever I'll hold down the throne. We were raised, homie, brought up to be real lokes. When we were raised, brought up, homie, to be real lokes. When we were raised, brought up, homie, to be real lokes. Low, 6 flow.
G-File.
One of the other neighborhoods right here that you definitely hear about that's old school and pretty large in numbers is the Varroa Mid-Side. Now, Varroa Mid-Side has been already right here for a cool minute. You definitely see the activities by these guys, you know what I mean? They definitely keep it active, you know? Now, their Varroa's what's right there. What's New Hope to McFadden is the Varroa Mid-Side. Has nothing to do with Midway or nothing like that, you know, just they both happen to have the mid in them. Due to the mid portion of the area, it's considered the middle. Varroa Mid-Side, it's definitely active, definitely deep, and they definitely keep it active, homie. Like, it should be cracking out here, you know what I mean? These fools going at it with all the surrounding neighborhoods and everything. But like I said, they're large in numbers, so they definitely be holding it down for their turf, you know what I mean? These guys ain't no chumps, you know what I'm saying? One of the gangs that definitely be putting the OC on the map. And yeah, that's what's up with the middle side Varroa right there. Now here you have the local Mexican style neighborhood. Local Mexican style used to be a tank crew that became a neighborhood. Not that old school, been around since the 80s. Roughly a small neighborhood, but nonetheless definitely keep it active. You definitely hear about them. They get it cracking, you know what I mean? Because what their neighborhood is what's considered a Brookhurst to Trask Avenue, all the way to Centauri, to West Garden Grove. It's what's considered the local Mexican styles neighborhood. So it's a pretty large chunk, of territory, that these guys, own, especially for being a tagging crew that became a neighborhood, so they definitely got a large chunk in territory. So, that's the LMS, neighborhood around here. So not to be confused with like little mobsters, or little Watts, they just have the same lettering, but it's different neighborhood. And no, it does not stand for little MS. I see that some people try to say that that's what it stands for. That does it. I don't know where the hell they got that from. Like that has nothing to do with none of that. But this is his own neighborhood, and they definitely keep it active, and they're putting it on the map. But yeah, that's what's up with the local Mexican style neighborhood. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Big Stanton neighborhood. Now the Big Stanton neighborhood, obviously you can find them right there in Big Stanton, on Stanton. Throughout that whole entire area is where you can find this neighborhood, because this neighborhood is very large. This neighborhood is old school already, has been around since the 1930s, so it's already, old school neighborhood with very rooted, very, organized and all of that, you know what I mean? And definitely going at it with like barrios like La Colonia, they definitely have pleito, since back then, since like the 1930s. So that's already heavy beef between them two barrios, you know what I mean? Now this barrio started as a baseball team. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why them and La Colonia have their beef and why they don't even get along, you know what I mean? Even since when the barrios were just baseball teams, these vatos had pleito, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the LA neighborhood, some of them barrios used to be football teams, to keep the youths out of trouble. Over here, they had like similar programs, but it was, more baseball than football. And same thing happened over here, you know what I mean? But, that's due to, it being like very racist, over there, you know what I mean? So, them getting like the shorter end of the stick you know, the Latino youth. So you already know how that goes. You know what I mean? So they band together. That's how these neighborhoods start, man. It'd be crazy. But yeah, that's what's up with Big Stanton right here. Like I said, it's a large old school neighborhood. They definitely get it cracking. It's one of the ones that you definitely hear about over here, and you know they keep it active. Shout out to the homie Casper from Big Stanton. You know what I mean? Feed me camarada. Shout out to the homie Bullet. And shout out to all the homies from Big Stanton that be right there representing for their barrio and holding it down. You know what I mean? Now here you have Motown, Modena Locos. Now Modena Locos is an old school neighborhood right here. You can find them right there on Vine. You know, they're an old school neighborhood. They used to be large. They're not as large as they used to be, but nonetheless, you know, they have their reputation. You know, they're known. You know, you don't really see that much activity from them no more due to like all the raids and crackdowns, you know, of law enforcement and gentrification and all of that. But nonetheless, man, you still hear about their neighborhood. They still do their thing. You know what I mean? I mean, they were well rooted right there. You know, going at it, you know, heavily with Orange County, Cypress. You know, like the tensions between those two neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Heavy beef. You know, that should be cracking. But you know, these guys definitely be representing right there on Vine and holding it down for their neighborhood and putting it on the map. You feel me? Now here you have an old school neighborhood, which is an Outwood neighborhood. Now Outwood is an old school you know, barrio in itself. You know, back when they had the colonies, you know, the workers, because they used to separate the whites and Hispanics back in the days right there in Orange County. You know what I mean? So, you know, they had these little sections, like little barrios, you know what I mean? And Outwood is one of those, you know what I mean? And due to all of this madre, you know, getting mistreated, you know, racism, you know, basically, because even law enforcement put shoot to kill on site if anybody protested against, you know, their form of authority, you know, shit will crack. So, you know, this barrio had it rough. So you can see why the youngsters banded together to form a neighborhood, you know what I mean? Because, you know, estaba cabrón, you know, the situation back then. But this neighborhood, like I said, is an old school barrio in itself. You know, so that's what's up with the Outwood village. Outwood neighborhood. And they definitely be holding it down right there for their barrio and still putting it on the map and representing, you know. Shout out to the homie Grumpy. And yeah, they right there representing and putting it on the map. And here's another old school large neighborhood, which is the Santa Anita. Now, the Santa Anita neighborhood has been around since the 1940s. That's an old school neighborhood. You know what I mean? There used to be a car club. You know, they used to stand for the Midnight Cruisers. And, you know, as time goes by, you know, they ended up, becoming a neighborhood. You know what I mean? You know, the dramatics. And obviously they got their name, Santa Anita, obviously named after the park's name, you know, right there on First and Gunther, you know, is where the park's at, and you know that's where they got their name from. They based their name off of the parque, you know. But before they were a car club, that were the Midnight Cruisers. But now, you know, the dramatics, Barrio Santa Anitas. You know, and it's been history ever since then, because this neighborhood is definitely large. One of the ones that you do definitely hear about from over here from the OC. You can't even say you don't, you know. And you definitely see the activity by these guys. You know, these guys ain't playing, homie. Like, these fools definitely getting cracking over here. You know, they put their barrio on the map. You know, so that's what's up with the Santa Anita neighborhood, holding it down right there. You know. Representing. Shout out to the homie Mono from Santa Anita's. That's a feed me homie right there. You know what I mean? And shout out to all the homies from Santa Anita's that be representing, you know, like the homie Frankie. Feed me camarada, another female writer right there. And shout out to all the Santa Anitas right there, homie.